Welcome to the Savoy Originals. I'm Alex Zane, and today I am joined by a true original.
Mackerel on my day off and fillet the mackerel because it had the same rib cage as a sea bass. I'm going to fillet that, stuff it with a scallop mousse and match your level of perfection. I think there's a stroke addiction to getting it right.
He's one of the most successful on the planet, with a restaurant empire spanning the globe and a TV career like no other in his industry. His restaurants have an astonishing 8 Michelin stars between them, including the 3 at his original eatery and 90 right here at the Savoy. He is, of course, the one and only Gordon Ramsay. Now, just before we get started, I want to give a special thanks to our wonderful sponsor, Laurent-Perrier, for making today's episode a little more special. A glass to their Laurent-Perrier Heritage. But did you know that back in 1968, Bernard de Nonancourt, the man behind this remarkable champagne, made history? He was the first to create Cuvée Rosé, technique called cold maceration, where juice of 100% Pinot Noir grapes from the best vineyard in the region is allowed to rest with the skins, capturing the purest color and taste of those red fruit. Bold move set a new benchmark in the world of rosé champagnes, just like Laurent-Perrier Heritage sets the standard for elegance and innovation today. Here's to Bernard's vision and, of course, Mr. Gordon Ramsay, so love. Yeah, let's raise a glass to you, sir. A true original.
Cheers, my man. Good to see you. Laurent-Perrier, one of the champagne houses that really helped me out at the beginning of my career. And you just never forget when you get that leg up. So thank you.
So you mentioned them helping you out at the career. I want to take you back even further, if I may. I want to start by asking you a fairly simple, but hopefully quite useful question. Is there a quality you learned about yourself at a very young age that has stayed with you, and perhaps it's the way you view the world today?
I think it's graft, stroke determination. Growing up and watching mum juggle 3 jobs and seeing the work ethic. Also, going over spilt milk, dust yourself down, get back and go again. It's interesting, isn't it, when you grow up with your parents and you think they're God's gift, and then you see, one side of your parent not as iconic as you felt, and so you lean towards your mum, and then all of a sudden she becomes this mentor. And so, she worked hard, man. She worked incredibly hard, and then she was dealing with 4 kids. She had 4 by the time and so you learn a lot just from that moment.
Doing my research for this interview, you have seemingly endless reserves of energy. You have 6 kids yourself, you have a TV empire, a restaurant empire. Were you an energetic child? Were you always on the go? Were you a handful?
I think you should ask mum that. Energetic, yes. Boisterous, yes. Competitive, yes. Handful, not really. Grateful, I think. A fascinating crossover from sport into food, because you depend on a team effort, you depend on the training, you depend on the level of fitness. And I get upset with the sort of profile of chefs today. Everyone thinks you need to be taking something to maintain that level of perfection and hit all those giddy heights that you do on a daily basis. But no, it's just the pursuit of perfection that I worked hard at, got me to where I am today.
So just as a thought exercise, because obviously you are very much a self-made man, do you think if you had been born with a silver spoon, you would have achieved everything you've achieved?
Yeah, a silver spoon. We had no fucking silver in the house, so there was no chance of that. Born in with that comfort, would I have got and strive for today? I don't think I would be striving for that, because I'm unspoiled. And the reason why I can say that, our son, Jack, is in the Royal Marine Commandos, and no disrespect, he didn't ask to be born into a sort of famous family. And so to see him graft and to go down the same line that I did, fending for himself, becoming independent, not relying on your parents, and he's got everything. He's done way less and benefited from his parents' success. No, he took a job. I think the beginning salary for a Royal Marine Commander today is like £17,549. And then you 2 years, and that course is brutal. The pre-fitness tests and the passing out parade and the green beret meant something to him. So no, even born on a silver spoon, I think I have great taste, I have great taste, but it needs to be worked for. I tell the kids that all the time. You'll appreciate it more than being handed down something.
You said, you're much closer to your mum. Do you think not having a male role model to sort of look younger, do you think that almost supercharged your desire to form a very definite identity for yourself?
Yeah. Also, I think the circumstances you're born into, you could never get individual photographs. From high school, you had to go and sit with your brother and your sister because we knew damn well your parents could never afford individual photos. You got the piss taken out of you when you had to queue up for dinner tickets, lunch vouchers. Grew up in a council estate. So you were labelled, and then you understand that stamp on your character is already semi-dysfunctional because and so you want to work to get out that shit mess. And I think that's what I did. Took that inspiration from mum, realised that's not how I want to live my life, seeing the way my father attempted to bring us up, and that the perfect analogy to do everything the opposite. And so you learn to better yourself, even from an early age, at 14 or 15, known full well that food was minimum. We grew up unfussy because we had no choice. And if you left anything, then it was an insult to mum. And so you realise at 14 or 15, just the struggles. And my mates were going off to places like Spain and France for holiday. We were going to Scarborough, Skegness and Bognor fucking Regis. So you learn quickly, but you just can't say much because you've got to be careful how you get out that mess. And you've got to be smart, and you've got to be honest to get out and not forget where you came from.
It's striking to me, your focus, your self-belief, your resourcefulness. In all the forming of that, was there someone helping you, encouraging you, or did it come from pure self-reliance?
Oh, I've had multiple people that have been pillars of my success. I'd start off with Marco Pierre White, a powerhouse, an absolute legend. And the Roux brothers put cuisine and fine dining on the British culinary map. After that was Guy Savoy in Paris, and then Joe Robuchon. And then there was an extraordinary man called Reg Grundy, an Australian. Because I was his private chef on his boat, and I was employed to cook for him. But for me, it's sabbatical. I was earning, in 1 month on that boat what I'd earn a year in Paris. And so all of a sudden I had money that I became disciplined and tucked it away. But it's a sabbatical year out, get my shit together, process, unwind, get fit. And at the age of 25, 26, I'd had these four main sort of built the foundation of my sort of career, I think.
Well, that's interesting. I do want to hone in on one of those because I do want to talk about some of the incredible achievements over the course of your career. I'd start by asking why you think you have succeeded where so many others have not.
I spent a lot of time learning from a lot of people's mistakes, and I watch carefully every failure in the industry. I'm not really interested in the success. You have to watch out for the dark side of this business. And then you have to prevent yourself from getting sucked in and overwhelmed. And there was a point that I felt it started becoming too much. How do I do this? How do I maintain this? Taking yourself out of the mix and just reviewing everything and giving yourself more time. So I got to 39 and I was thinking, shit, I'm 40, 3 Michelin stars, multiple restaurants, incredible family, but me, I'm not looking good. I'm not feeling good. I'm not as fit as I should be. And so I dived into triathlons, and that got me out more. That got me into 3 disciplines. And wherever I was in the world, I could either swim, I could bike, or I could run. And I wanted to put that together. And so that level of exertion, excitement, and adrenaline, everyone thinks training's hard, because everything just started to make sense, and I could land all the planes hold certain aircraft in the air, certain ideas, certain ambitions, and then just, one land, one take off. And this whole process became because I gave myself more time. And that was by working hard, doing an Ironman, which sounds crazy, but I was clawing time back that I got lost because I was submerged in an incredible that I needed. I needed to not get sucked in.
So, because so many creative people like yourself, routine is quite important. But I imagine because of so many different facets of what you've done there is actually enforce as much as you can a kind of routine, at least the bare bones of a routine on your different exploits.
Super discipline without indulgence. And sometimes there's a very fine line running it or indulging in it. I've only had dinner at a restaurant called Ramsay in 25 years twice. Once was for Megan's birthday, and the second time was with Bradley Cooper when we were
for Burnt, yeah. And
so twice in 25 years, because it's not my style. It's not my style. It's too posh for me, and it sounds weird, right? You built the fucking place, and it's like.
I really get that. It's a strange thing, isn't it? Being waited on, it can be quite a high pressure experience if it doesn't sit naturally with you, if you're not built that way.
I can't sit there with that level of tension. And so Megan sat and cried at the end of that birthday, 16th. And she said, "Dad, I get it." I said, "Sorry, what? I get it. I understand now. It's taking me all this time, but now I know Monday to Friday. I know why you want us all to work hard and to find our craft in life, but I get it." So it's intimidating, and you don't understand how far you go and how far you build and what kind of creation you put out. It's bloody intimidating, and it's a very special moment for the guests, not for me, because I'm a giver, I'm not a receiver, and so I'm uncomfortable there.
Just to pluck one word from what you just said, intimidate. You worked under Marco Pierre White's at Harvey's in that famous kitchen, which just the stories about that place truly fascinate me. But to put it very simply, just how important time in that kitchen in turning you into the Gordon Ramsay who's sitting here right now?
Yeah, it was crucial. It was one of the most important times of my career. 2.5 years with a powerhouse, phenomenal chef. I was on a mission, man. Oh my God. We had a dogmatic, substandard reputation in this country. Food, and in the 90s, it just wasn't anywhere near what was going on in France or Spain. And so Marco was on this a Brit, cooking, haute cuisine and fine dining. But it was the energy, I think, that I got excited about. And I could match his energy for the level of attention to detail, fitness, and quickly. And so it was like the perfect apprenticeship, but I learned more than just cooking. He put food on a plate like Picasso, the speed of him and the way his mind worked. And then traveling, going from 2 to 3 stars, the most exciting part of a career, because it's the hardest jump in life and it's the most ornate, demanding, difficult, fine light detail. From everyone thinks it's a formula. It's nothing to do with a formula. It's that level of perfection. And so watching him and being by his side, I had to practice. And even silly things like expensive sea bass. I mackerel on my day off and fillet the mackerel because it had the same rib cage as a sea bass. So when I got into work on Monday, I could show him, I can fillet this sea bass. I'm not going to waste it. It's a 50, 60 pound fish. I'm going to fillet that, pin bone it, stuff it with a scotch, match your level of perfection. So just little nuances like that built me. And then stepping out of Harvey's, one of the most exciting restaurants in Britain at the time, into Gavroche, from this 2-star into this 3-star, but the 2-star was actually better, but hadn't been given the stamp of approval, was incredible because that elevated me to the 10-meter board. So I could jump above everybody and literally cook with one arm behind my back. And then I knew it was something special that he gave me. Any jobs, you never really confirm how good you are until you've left because it's a routine. And then you move on, someone shows you something. I know already how to do that. And I wanted to become French. That was the whole idea of going to Gavroche, because I fell in love with France, and I literally had a lingophone, my little Metro card. I refused to speak English in the kitchen, and I became fluent, bilingual within 3 months. And I kicked myself because school was boring, teacher was a nightmare, and she scared the shit out of me. So young kids can get traumatized by French teachers. I fucking did, because she was monstrous. And so I used to fake sickness, vomiting, broken ankles just to get out of French classes. And then fast track 7 years later, I needed that French experience to stand out. Because when you're a young Scot, 6'2", at 22 years of age, kitchens in Paris, Guy Savoy, again, on that journey from 2 to 3 stars. And so this was the second time in my career, Marco 2 to 3, the perfect moment. And then Guy Savoy in France going from 2 to 3. Magical moment that money can't buy, Alex. And the reason I say that is because when I got back to bloody London, I set up Aubergine, and I went 1, 2, 3 in 6 years. When I won my 3rd star, it was actually quicker than what Guy had. And I realized then, from Marco to Guy, just the substance they put on my sort of repertoire, that was it. Those magical moments layer what Restaurant Gordon Ramsay is today.
So competitiveness really is.
That's good, though. That's healthy. And if you were shit at your job, you wouldn't be sat where you are. Competitiveness is healthy, and we all need that stimulant, a sort of a ceiling. You need to reach for something, otherwise it's a pretty depressing, mundane, boring job when you're just reheating food and sticking it out for a buffet and just serving food with no touch. Food's personal. It has feelings. It really is very personal. So, yeah, that competitive edge, that's part of the sporting background as well, I think. And that, for me, is healthy.
So, like, in Harvey's, because by all accounts, it was a kitchen like no other. I don't know whether that's true or not, but...
Yeah, it was the SAS of kitchen. Thought I was bad in a kitchen in Boiling Point. Well, fuck me. You should have seen what it'd been like to watch MPW beating the shit out of all 4 of us. It was WWF crossed with UFC, crossed with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. And oh, by the way, in between that is a tagliatelle of oysters somewhere.
So, fall by the wayside. This is really reinforcing the idea that I've got something that these people don't have, who are going, I cannot hack this environment.
Yeah. I sadly enjoyed the failure of those. It turned me on because it then gave you a shit, I've got this. Another one bites the dust. But that was no different to 3 left backs under 18s at Glasgow Rangers. And to get the name on the sheet, to go and run out for Glasgow Rangers and play left back, knowing there was 3 or 4 others that are there. So it sounds a little bit pessimistic, taking advantage of their made me stronger, because you're defined to be cut out for this level. It was just another reaffirmation that you can do this because they can't. I don't think it's any different to a top office when the shit hits the fan and you've got a big legal case and you haven't done your due diligence, whether it's a news desk and you're reporting incorrect information and the sub-editor's going to have your balls on the line. It's a boisterous environment. It's not fit for everybody. There is a price to pay for that level of perfection.
You mentioned Boiling Point. It's a kind of anniversary, isn't it? 25 years since we first saw you on TV proper in that Channel 4 documentary.
Nightmare. I say it now because we're here at the Savoy. We're opposite ITV studios. We're over in the South Bank, the old studios. And it was iconic because, yeah, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I knew how to cook. I was learning how to run a business, and I'm striving for 3 stars. I had this film crew behind 24/7 following me at the time of trying to get Tana to convince her that we'd got to sell the flat to borrow money to buy La Tante Claire, and it was just all getting super competitive. And then meantime,
which you love, right? Which you
but I didn't know the film crew was there, and then to open my big mouth and the fucking Michelin were in for dinner and I'm going to get my 3rd star. The biggest shock was being called in to watch the program. And I sat there for 5 minutes. I thought, oh my God. Because it was the first time you just saw that 60, no ass kissing, God bless the amazing Gary Rhodes, traveling around Britain, evolving Cornish pasties and cooking incredible food. Jamie Oliver, the naked chef, at 21, sliding down a banister. And then there's fucking me, French fucks that couldn't fillet a sea bass. And so, yeah, it was a hodgepodge. And I mean, I look at The Bear today and I look at Boiling Point on BBC and it's like, yeah, that was me 25 years ago. But that's how kitchens ran, whether I liked it or not. That was the environment you grew up in. And so it wasn't the best form of man management. Anything different. Does Pep Guardiola run Man City's changing room any different to Alex Ferguson? Fucking right he does. I remember David telling me that they literally used to get the TV positioned higher and higher and higher in the changing room so as he couldn't smash it at half time. And so it's the same in a kitchen when the shit's hitting the fan and you're down in the dumps, man, and you've got to dig deep and find gear you've had. So then it's got the chef-critic relationship. And you've strived and you've grafted and you've worked and you've painlessly gone through this incredible apprenticeship to be judged by individuals that know you. And then there's the sort of celebrity food critic now that wants to come in and get high off your success by nailing your success. And so I stood up for my staff because I'm with them 16 hours a day. They meant more to me than some in the Times. And so fuck it. Yeah, we have to stand up for ourselves because that was important. But yeah, listen, Boiling Point scared the shit out of me. Even my mother still tells me off about that today. But
having as a waiter back in Leeds and seeing that intensity firsthand, it seems to me that kitchens need to run like that, to deliver that level of service. You have to take no prisoners attitude. Do you think they still today?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think majority of them do. There's a price to pay, whether you or I like it, for perfection. You're dealing at the sort of the 0.5 of the industry, and the attention to detail is second to none. And these young kids have got your reputation in their hands, and so it's a fine line. Energizing. You can't just come in and turn on the stove and shit happens. It doesn't work like that at that level. So you're one bad meal away from a disastrous experience that could absolutely take you down. So that's the price that you pay. I think things have got a lot easier with the hours. I think a lot more kitchens understand that it's a sort of 4-day week. Some of them now down to 3.5-day week. Less toll in terms of the 80, 90 hours a week, but it's still hard and it's still disciplined and it's still very much on that sort of knife edge that when it's running smoothly, it's perfect. Wrong and south, and yeah, it's a disaster.
How much has risk played a part in forging your career and building your empire? A
lot, high risk. I've never been a label slap guy. I've never just put my name above the door because it's a consultancy fee. It means too much. I've worked too hard to get the experience I've garnered and the way I've developed as a chef. So it defines you. You get your shit together earlier. You outsmart the competition earlier, and you get to the top of the summit. And yes, daunting. But I never feared failure.
Have you always found yourself on the right side of risk, or is there a mistake you've made that has stayed with you and perhaps defined choices afterwards?
The process of mistakes is learning, but I'm not that fucking stupid to open up and tell you my mistakes. And so they're buried, long buried.
Did you have buried them personally, as in you have no use for them?
Absolutely. Just don't be mistake twice, because that's when you're going to get found out. And so I emphasize on a daily basis, happy to make mistakes, just don't make the same one twice. Also, I think there's always that reminder, that little stern fear, by the way, but I still keep it at the forefront of my mind, of failure. What if I didn't have it? What if I lost my third star tomorrow, I would put my head down and win it back. So I'm not particularly worried about that. But you do go through that level of, if it all goes away tomorrow, what would you do? And that keeps you on your toes. And I know I shouldn't need to do that. Sadly, I have a little brother that didn't do as well, became an addict, got tangled up in all that mess. We've strived on multiple times to get him clean and help, etc. And so when you're close, the flip side, we have the same mum. We had the same bedroom for 10 years. We're 18 months apart. And so I drop in little stern reminders how close that is.
As in, if you don't keep up the momentum and keep pushing forward, keep growing and so forth, you think there's literally a spectre just sort of waiting over your shoulder?
Not every day. It still comes back to haunt me. It still comes a reminder. And don't cancel those noises out as if it's never going to happen, because that then breeds complacency. And so I've never been complacent. I'm not lazy. I have an attention to detail. Wrap up and finish everything I'm doing perfectly. Otherwise, I wouldn't start it, made it.
And do you consider yourself an addict in terms of you're addicted to this perfectionism, this need that you basically just channeled it into something positive?
Yeah, it's funny. Half the time I'd go meet and sit in meetings with my brother at Clouds, and I'd get called an addict.
Oh, really?
And I had to take it. Hold on a minute. I'm not fucking injecting a substance. Yeah, I'm addicted to perfection, but it's a controlled addiction because that's what I'm striving for. So I took that on the chin. You can't react to that circle. You have to be incredibly downplayed. But I think there's a stroke addiction to getting it right. And I'm super relaxed outside that environment, by the way. Have that attention to detail when I'm going fishing, when I'm running a marathon. I will do sausage and mash with baked beans and make it look like a fucking 3-star Michelin. Sausage, mash and baked beans, and I'll put the beans on one at a time and I'll finish them with I'll make fucking mashed potatoes like Rob Bushon did with 70% butter, and then Tana will kick me up the arse and say, what in the fuck are you doing? Our son is 5 years of age and you're fucking around with these sausages, these mash, and you're putting baked beans on the plate. Stop it. So, yeah, I get a little bit carried away sometimes.
So when you did wrap up the 3 stars, the 3 Michelin stars, what did that actually feel like in that moment when you found out you'd been awarded it? Was it just a relief, a celebration, a what next moment?
It was an emotional relief like no other, because then I felt not vindicated. I felt that I'd got to this moment and everything's been worth it. The 16 hours, the lack of social life, the level of focus and training. And it felt like the Bible, France are giving back to you and saying, you're as good as. And then stupidly, I went on the journey to try and get 3 stars in fucking France. So yeah, I don't know. That's that level of competitiveness again. I never cooked for money. I never cooked to get rich. I never cooked to buy a Ferrari. I never cooked to have an amazing family. I cooked because the passion and the drive and the excitement I got from it. Yeah, it's incredible to get it. Then all of a sudden there's this whew. It's like you're sat in the steam room and you just think, fuck me, and then, of course, maintaining them for 22 years, you then need to become the most unselfish chef on the planet. Educate, develop, nurse, and then become almost a disguised mentor. But everything you've got, everything you know, everything you've studied, offload, create those mini yous. And I think the sort of Angela Hartnett, the Marcus Warings, the Claire Smiths, they've all come through that Royal Hospital Road DNA pickup, and they go off and become their own successes. To see Claire Smith becoming the first ever female in Britain with 3 stars after 12 years by my side, oh my God, Matt Abbey will be the next one that will go on and become a 3-star chef. They've got it in their quality. Now behind them, they've got it in their itinerary. And then I want them to shine.
Now, as we sip on this delectable Laurent-Perrier heritage, I'm once again drawn to the legacy behind it. Earlier, we touched on how Bernard de Nonancourt changed the game with his Cuvée Rosé champagne back in 1960. Bernard wasn't just focused on rosé champagne. His drive to push boundaries and innovate continued, and that spirit lives on in every bottle of their latest release, Laurent-Perrier Heritage. Just as gave his Cuvée Rosé champagne its incredible red fruit flavour, the art of assemblage in Heritage reflects that same dedication to crafting the extraordinary, this time with freshness, depth and elegance the test of time. So here's to innovation from Cuvée Rosé to Heritage, and to enjoying every drop responsibly. Cheers. Since then, obviously, your TV career, your empire, you've got your own production company, has just grown. Kitchen Nightmares, 9th season. Hell's Kitchen, a show you created, 24th season in the US. And that's just scratching the surface. I think because of those shows, a lot of people's go-to image of you, Gordon Ramsay, is someone who is shouting at people, restaurant owners, competitors on the show. How much of that is real? Is there a performative element to that?
As I take very seriously. I want to be at that dinner table when Joyce and James are hosting a dinner and say, hey, James, Joyce, your food's amazing. You should open a restaurant. Then they go and buy a restaurant, and they're school teachers, and someone's told them at that particular dinner, you should open a restaurant, James and Joyce, because your food's amazing. Because they fall in love with this love affair with running a restaurant. Running a restaurant's fucking hard in the world to do. And 68% of those fail in the first 18 months. So Kitchen Nightmares, I have a big team. We've got a culinary team, an art team, incredible producers. We spend $1.6 million per episode. And I leave them with a prescription. Take the meds, follow it. You need to understand this. You need to pay your tax, and you need to pay your NI, and you need to understand what bottom line means, and you need to understand what an EBITDA is, and you need to understand, seasonality. And so I can't win either way, Alex. When they're a success, you don't get praised. When they fail, you get blamed. So but it doesn't stop me going in. And I think, if anything, it takes me back to the beginning of my career and everything I learned and are still learning now I put into those restaurants. But it's tough love. It really is tough love. There was an article last week, I can't remember where, it said Ramsay's nightmare, 85% of the restaurants. Yeah, I've been doing it for 20 years. If they don't take the prescription, we film on average around sort of 95 to 100 hours to a 46-minute footage. Hell's Kitchen is a boot camp. Hell's Kitchen is a culinary boot camp that we started developing over 20 years ago with ITV. That wasn't my idea to go live, by the way. I don't know what ITV were thinking, putting me live of celebrities and teaching them how to make a fucking beef Wellington. Not a good idea. I quite like when we get down to the final 5, when you've got the creme de la creme and you've waded through all that crap, and then the platform called an amazing head chef job. It's a unique position for their career. We couldn't even dream of those kind of competitions growing up. So it's not a fast track to success, but it's a great platform for them to launch themselves.
And you actually enjoy it, like passing on to these contestants, these restaurateurs. Do you derive pleasure from going, I can help you make this good?
I'm a little bit naughty because it's the bit that I miss daily as a cook. Behind the line, the coalface, the energy, the drive, the demand, the pressure, the tickets coming on. And I go back to Guy Savoy, Paris, and they used to call out the orders and turn the ticket upside down. I had to memorize that fucking ticket, in my mind. I came out of the garde manger and went onto the fish, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Phew." But then your mind just goes so deep and your thought process becomes so unique and you start to absorb tickets. And so I'll be honest with you, I miss the action. What I don't get out of my own restaurants today, I get out of Hell's Kitchen because I'm in it. I compete with them, which is slightly stupid because I'm supposed to be hosting a fucking show. And so I enjoy going back to the floor. If that sort of, it's not sad, but it's just, I miss that part. And I never want to get told that I'm too fucking old, but season 24, I'm gonna have to start slowing down somewhere.
So we've had some of the high points of your career, the qualities that have made you such a unique figure. I want to now ask something that we ask all our guests. With all the experience and knowledge that you now have, what do you think it takes to continue to do original things and succeed?
To become and to stay original, the definition of that for me is to stay in front of the competition. No disrespect to any TV or social media. At the heart of all that, bullshit. I'm a real chef. I've mastered my craft. And so I don't go into any scenario, cooking, demo, live, restaurant, shit. So master your craft, and that level of sustainability will create an original, compelling following.
I mean, it's clear to me that there are huge wells of creativity in you, but do you ever have creative? You do. What do you do to recharge, refill the tank, both emotionally and mentally?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I spent the last 15 years building an amazing team. This is no house of cards. There's a foundation that has got some multifacets, super talented, whether it's in comms, marketing, R&D, whether it's mixologist-led, whether it's one of the top sushi chefs in the country. There's a plethora of talent. And so when you surround yourself with that level of talent, it's easy to get inspired. I've always said every time you walk into a kitchen, you think you're the smartest and the sort of most talented in there, you're in the wrong kitchen. So that's not imposing for me to get talent alongside me that are better than me. That's a really good call. And so I take advantage of travel. Last week I was in Austin, Texas. The week before that I was in New Orleans. Saturday night I fly to Melbourne. And I'm like a magpie. I see shiny things, I grab and I take back. I don't copy, but I'll get inspired by the shiny bits. I'll put that into play.
Honestly, how do you do it all? How do you actually manage all of this?
Yeah, there's three parts: the restaurant group, the production, and then the restaurant called Ramsay today still operates 5 days a week. The kids have a life, the staff have a life, they work hard and they play even harder. I have a shit hot PA called Rachel Ferguson, and she crams into what a person will do in a week. And so I can tell you 14 months out where I'm going to be, who I'm going to be with, and what I'm doing. And so when I'm off, I'm off. Our hiding space is Cornwall. Walk down the end of the garden, surf with the kids, swim, run. Camel Valley is this beautiful little valley. It's microclimate, producing incredible wine. We can't even call it fucking champagne now because of the French. Sparkling wine. And so we have blocks of just disappearing, recharging, resetting, and then bouncing back.
And do you have to have a family who has an understanding, who goes, look, do you know what? I get it. Go and do you, because you need to do that. The whole, I know you said it's not a house of cards, so excuse the analogy, but the whole house of cards will fall down if you do not miss this to do Hell's Kitchen, for example.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, we're very lucky now with our own production arm, a media company. It's multifaceted, multi-layered. So it's digital, it's creating ideas. That works around me. So we shot Hell's Kitchen 2 years ago.
Right.
And we do back-to-back seasons. And then the family will come out with me and we'll do that at summer holidays. And so I'm in a very lucky position now. I can dictate the time, availability, and I don't chase the calendar. That chases me. You've got 3 weeks to shoot that. yes, I'm going to shoot it at Easter. The kids are off on holiday and we're going to be in there for 21 days. Let's go. Organize chaos that looks very, very chaotic, but super organized. We're time poor. We maximize our time on the ground, but well planned.
To go back to and I like calling them empires because they are. These empires you've built. From the outside looking in, you look like a very successful man. How do you measure your own success, though? Is there something that makes you go, yeah, says to me, I'm a success?
That's a tough one, that one, because touching perfection, I need to be surrounded by perfection. So measuring success for me, if I'm honest, would be driving the most amazing Ferrari around Silverstone with my helmet on and my instructor, and just understanding that we're in the hands of another perfect, beautifully built car that is steeped in history and has got all the makings of a legendary car that's been crafted by the very best of the best. And so adrenaline-seeking rush is matched by touching perfection. And it feels good to release yourself in other perfect lanes from somebody else's perfection, and you feel comfortable not there. And I do that 2 or 3 times a year with a group of friends, rent the track, get the cars out, and just drive to perfection. And it's one of the most exhilarating, exciting, honestly. It's funny when you start off and the instructor's there and he's super nervous, and then 2 hours into it, the tires are warm and you can just open up. And that's how I measure success, sharing in other levels of perfection.
I love that word again, perfection. It's, and you're still excited about it. For example, you, as we sit here now, I know you've had a busy morning. 22 Bishopsgate is your most audacious project yet. The top 2 floors of the second tallest building in London. Is it exciting for you? Does opening a new restaurant still do that for you?
I need that fix, Alex. I need that fix. I need that pressure. Just to get that site was off the charts. The outlay financially is extraordinary. And so I don't want to depend on the view to up the experience. I want the food uniquely done. I'd like to get high. And it is an incredible building. And the 360 views, and to look across and see that you're taller than the Shard, and it's one of the tallest restaurants in Europe, is a dream. Again, we'll go back of, what keeps it original, because I love stepping back. I love recreating, and I'm going to treat this restaurant like I did with my first 25 years ago, and the effort and the energy. We've got something special already. We've got something pretty unique up our sleeve for this one.
I know you do like nice cars, but you have said, I was never in this for the money.
No. Shit, no. I don't like talking about it. The kids don't ask for it. They've all crafted their own careers, which is great. From a parent's point of view, we've done exceptionally well. We've gone back for 2 more kids. It's like an army now. Thankfully, Tilly is the first one in the group that's interested in cooking. She's just currently studying at Ballymaloe and just putting her head down. And even there was a point thinking, the kids get all these memes on social media and they say, shit, Dad, was this you in Boiling Point? And not me, looks like me. No, Dad, it's fucking you. Why were you sounding like such an arsehole? But there's an example. Tilly went to uni, graduated this summer, gone off to Ballymaloe, paid for herself, worked, saved the money, gone off to culinary school. And then I said goodbye to her. And then I put her on the ferry and I thought, fuck, why didn't she ask me? Is that my first big major fuck up? And I can't wait to ask that question, but it just goes to show that how unsport they are, but individually follow their own path, pay for their own experience, and not depend on their parents. I think that's a good call. But it does fuck me off. from a chef's point of view that today, as we sit here over a bottle of fucking Laurent-Perrier, is getting taught to cook by someone else than Gordon Ramsay. Now, does that mean she thinks I'm shit? Does she think that 3 stars is not relevant today? Tell me, because I'd love to know.
Do you think you will ever? I'd say, would you ever retire? But would you even ever have the desire to retire to the countryside?
What in the fuck would I do retiring in the countryside? Looking all buffed up in barber wear and fucking Wellingtons and a stick. Oh, come on, Alex, for fuck's sake. At 57, what am I going to do? I'll be the biggest pain in the ass to everybody retire. I'm in control. I'm enjoying everything I do. And I wake up in the morning with something I've always wanted to do. And that's, I have a choice in life. And so 57, I've decided that I'd like to learn how to skydive.
Of course you would. Now, Gordon, we are coming to the end of our chat today, but before I let you go, 3 quick-fire questions.
Yes.
What is the most important thing you've learned in terms of remaining truly original?
MUM, my mother. And if there's ever a time that you think about getting carried away, because she's the bedrock. She's the one that started it, protected it, and got me where I needed to go. And my payback to her was getting her out Rise Council block and buying her very own first amazing house, her own garden. It took, I think it was like 12 times to pass the fucking driving test. And so after the driving test, we got her an amazing little Mini Cooper. So yeah, I'd say values installed by my mother.
What is the thing that you are most proud of?
Without a doubt. Because I grew up with the opposite to what they've had. And so to be in a position to create something truly unique, yeah.
And can you give me one piece of advice that you would give to someone else wanting to follow in your footsteps?
Mm-hmm. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. Vulnerable. Because the amount you learn whilst being vulnerable is way more than you learn being comfortable.
That is our time together, Mr. Gordon Ramsay. Thank you so much.
Good to see you, bud.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you to our producer, Lauren Armstrong-Carter at Rethink Audio, to our sponsor, Champagne Laurent-Perrier Heritage, and of course, to the incredible Gordon Ramsay. Next time on the Savoy Originals.
When you're in a band, you're made to feel disposable. Whereas now I know if I am successful, it's because I've worked hard, and if I fail, it's because I've done something wrong.
Joined by Frankie Bridge. Until then, follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bye-bye.